Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Chiefs Digest live stream. I'm looking at colors and lighting, and I'm not sure what's going on tonight. Let's see. I look like a healthy glow and everything. There probably looks a little more. Wait, it should. My camera's a little low too. May have to adjust that as well. Hey, you're getting to see all of the features of what goes on live when I show up on time. I hope everybody is doing well. Our good friend Nick Jacobs is planning to join us later this evening for a little bit. Don't forget, it's all lightning round in theory. Hopefully, just for all of our sanities. I know for the people who like to catch up later as well. There are, sometimes the hour 45, 2 hour live streams get a little long. So we'll try and make it a little more even tonight, I guess. Just short. It's been a wild, feels like a very long week since the last time that we spoke on the Tuesday night live stream. It feels like a long week since even the Thursday night live stream. Working on a guest for Thursday night this week, so hopefully won't be alone and have someone that you can all enjoy asking some questions to. I don't really have much of a monologue for tonight. I know I sometimes say that and then go on for 10 minutes, but Chiefs win. That's a big one. They needed that one over the Giants. I have still some concerns. I'm sure that you all probably have some concerns as well about this team. The Giants, not the best team in the league, and I think we saw why, and they're changing their quarterback, and I don't even think that was the biggest. I mean, the Chiefs' defense was obviously good against the Giants' offense. The Giants' offense that was their worst performance. They had to come off a really, really good week against the Cowboys, and the Chiefs' defense shut them down, which is what the Chiefs' defense has been doing for a while now. So I've got no concerns about the defense. Offense, numbers weren't great against the offense against the defense that's not very good. So that's still a troublesome worry for me. We'll see what happens when the 1-2 Ravens come to town this Sunday. That is what's going on next. And I'm just going to dive right into the questions. That's right. Hooray, hooray. It is Q&A day. Dog Petter, when Worthy and Rice are back, I think the Chiefs should trade Hollywood for a mid to low pick to the 49ers. Here's the thing, dog, I would say is you don't know how long people are going to be healthy. You don't know if you're going to get more injuries. So that's one position I think I'd hold on to everybody that I can. I don't think I'd be letting anybody go from that group right now. I mean, I get it because, Tyquan's been playing well. Juju's playing well. Worthy and Rice come back. I mean, hey, if Hollywood Brown's your fifth best receiver, it's a good problem to have because, once again, you get a couple of injuries and all of a sudden might be your third best receiver. And if he starts playing well, could be your best receiver. So I get the thought process. I don't think you're on an island, but it's just I think I would hold on for the depth because I don't know if the pick would be as worth as much as the depth. I mean, unless you're just punting on the season, dog. And I don't think anybody's punting on the season quite yet. I'm assuming nobody's doing it to the season yet. Your follow-up, do you think that the Chiefs should look to trade Hollywood with the emergence of Thornton? I really don't. I would just hold on to as much depth as you possibly can. So, yeah, I wouldn't be looking to make a trade with it for any of the receivers right now. I honestly wouldn't. I'd hold on to all of them that you can because you're going to get challenged by depth. You've already been challenged once, and you have to assume that it's going to happen again. That guys are going to get dinged up, especially because Hollywood, Juju, none of these guys of late have played full seasons. Worthy's got an injury that could be re-injured and knock him out. So, guys come in suspended. You're always worried about them having being off a little bit, missing some times, about them getting injured, having some soft tissue, injuries. So I would hold on to everybody for dear life right now at receiver. And I don't know if even I don't think you could get a day 2 pick. I think if you're even looking like early day 3, I don't know if that'd be enough for me to sacrifice any depth right now. Mitchell, when will Pacheco get benched already? He looks clueless. Those laterals. Smith looks electric, and Mitchell can't be worse. I think it's a reasonable question to ask, Mitchell, and I think that there's at some point this season there's going to be some mixing up at the running back spot. I've assumed that it would be injuries at some point because once again, you're with Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. You are talking about guys that playing all 17 games is not something that has been a big part of their repertoire for a while. So we would assume that some guys are going to get some opportunities just by that standpoint. But I'm starting to think that, one, I just need more touches for Brashard Smith regardless. Give him a few more. Between Pacheco and Hunt, they had 20 touches the other night. Brashard had 2. I mean, there's a handful that you could hand off to him right there. I think he needs more touches. I don't think there's any bad thing about it. I mean, at least give him 6 to 8 and see what he can do. I mean, I'd probably be more like in the ballpark of at least 8 to 10 and see what happens in a little bit longer stretch. But I want to see more Brashard. Mitchell, I am curious about. I still don't know how much of it is just that. I think that a part of it is that, hey, he's still coming back from the injury. I didn't think he looked very electric in training camp. The Chiefs, it's a marginal investment. I mean, people talk about how they spent the money. It wasn't that much above, really, league minimum. It's just that they guaranteed a lot of the contract. I think they guaranteed about 2/3 of it, like $1.3 million. It's not a big number to walk away from, but when you have $3 million in cap space, you walk away from that, and then you're going to add another player that's at least going to be, I mean, if it's another league minimum contract, another $1 million plus contract, I mean, that's a 30-year cap space. And anybody who's a free agent right now, I'm not sure is going to be significantly better than Elijah Mitchell. So I get, giving him a look at some point. I just want to see more Brashard Smith, and we'll see. I mean, it will be interesting to see if at some point that he's bumped up to number 2, whether it's, Hunt or Pacheco getting bumped down. Just putting Kareem in a short down only role would probably make the most sense. I don't know that that's necessarily what the Chiefs are thinking. There might even still be some concerns that even if you're just in a short yardage role only, that you're not going to be fresh in those situations. I get it. It's a tough one, but I mean, the Pacheco plays with the laterals. I mean, I think it was on both of them. I mean, Mahomes, threw those footballs. Probably should have tried to find another solution. I mean, throwing them away was probably the only other opportunity, and it was odd that he went ahead and chose to throw both of those. But yeah, the football IQ after those balls hit the ground was really disturbing. I mean, I don't know if that's really been talked about enough and everything. That Pacheco, it just did not look like his head was in it. And if that's just a matter of the struggles getting to him, then yeah, maybe that alone is enough to tweak things up a little bit and tweak the lineup. But because I agree. I mean, Brashard Smith to me needs some opportunities. Here's this great thing. I bring this up just because Brian has hit the like button, which I always forget to do. So Brian, once again, thank you. But StreamYard has introduced this new little feature that thinks that it flags questions. So it has like little question marks. So now in theory, it should be a whole lot easier for me to see questions and ignore things that aren't questions. I'm just going to see who, Pano, I'm looking at you, is able to trick the system and make it think it's a question by just putting in question marks. So we'll see how that works. Luttrell with an actual question. Who can we blame for these issues? And I assume you're just talking about the offensive issues, Luttrell. I mean, I'm going to go back to it again. Everybody's got a piece of it. And I mean, that sounds like an Andy Reid answer, and it is. But I think it's legitimate. Is the offensive line not playing together as a full unit? Yeah, I mean, they have not been effective individually. Some of them have been good at moments. Just Josh Simmons is. And Juwan Taylor, everybody's been talking about this stat this week, that for tackles left on an island, their win rates in the upper right quadrant. I mean, they're Josh Simmons has been really good, like not quite Lane Johnson good, but up there that close that he's in the conversation good. And Juwan Taylor's been above average. Now, okay, do you take the rest of Juwan's game? Penalties, run game, when he's not on an island, oddly enough. numbers come down a little bit. But that goes also back to, once again, I mean, this offensive line, these 5 guys, when they're on their own, I don't have a huge issue with. It's just that, when they need to be taken on combo blocks, when it's just a bigger scheme of things, when it's all working together as one, there's an issue. So offensive line, issue. Wide receiver, I mean, the biggest thing I can really criticize the receivers for is that they just don't have their 2 best guys. And that's going to stress any receiving group. Running backs, we covered that. I mean, they're not playing well. I really can't blame Mahomes. I think that by and large, he has done everything that he can and should be doing. Has he been perfect? No. But again, you look at like QBR, some of those metrics that are out there, all the metrics are pointing to the fact that Mahomes has top 5, top 10 numbers. And that's with, not necessarily having an in-sync offense around him. It's a little bit of everything, Luttrell. And, you would like to, if you're an offense that's just not firing on all cylinders, and the Chiefs have been in this spot before. They've been in the spot where they, as Andy Reid would say, they're just off a tick. You would like that to happen no more than maybe the first quarter of the season. I think if you're the Chiefs, you have to accept that it might be the first 8 games of the season, because even when Rashee Rice gets back, if Worthy gets back, you're going to have to just have some time for those guys to start meshing together again. And get it all put together. So I can't tell you for sure that it's just automatically going to be fixed one week. If the Chiefs win this game against Baltimore, I mean, they're going to win it because the offense stepped up. The offense is going to have to make some plays. I mean, unless you look back at this game and you're telling me that the Chiefs beat the Ravens because the defense scored a couple of touchdowns, Nico Remigio ran back a kick, then okay, that'll explain it. But the only other way to explain a Chiefs win out of this game is that the Chiefs offense is going to play better. Brian, kiss this season goodbye as long as Andy Reid is above criticism. I guess I'm anti-Semitic. Well, let's not quite go with maybe that kind of comparison there, Brian, but I get what you're saying. I don't think Andy Reid even in this town is above criticism. I think there's probably been some, for the most part, pretty harsh criticism of Andy. I think there's been a lot of doubts. So I think there's been a decent amount of criticism. I mean, if anything, I will say this about it, and this, I guess it could be, maybe be a little bit of Andy Reid criticism. Maybe it is Matt Nagy trutherism, but the reality of it is, and like I've been saying, Andy Reid's got the control of this offense. He's the number 1 voice. Patrick Mahomes has the second biggest voice in this offense. Third biggest voice is Matt Nagy. And, once again, it's if Matt Nagy wants to do something, it's probably only going to happen if Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes sign off on it. If Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes want to do something, they're going to do it whether Matt Nagy wants to or not. So, I've heard a lot of, hey, get rid of Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy, I can tell you, is not the problem. Maybe Matt Nagy might be one of your solutions for all I know, but I know he's not the problem behind this. So that's the one thing. But I think there is room for criticism of Andy Reid. I think that it's legit. It's fair. I mean, the only thing I'm ever gonna get too much into the weeds on is gonna be it'll be in really specific granular decisions. I mean, to me, because it comes back to, I mean, Andy Reid has forgotten more about football than I'll ever know, and he still knows more about football than I'll ever know, and that's true for pretty much all of us. Actually, I mean, no offense to all of you, I know you're all smart. Nick's the smartest guy I know when it comes to football. It's true for Nick. Andy Reid's forgotten more about football than Nick knows, and he still knows more about Nick than Nick knows right now. I mean, that's just, he is that good. And now Nick is here as I'm just talking about him being what I guess is that I just implied that he's the second smartest football person that I know, because I guess I know Andy Reid. So Nick might leave me now. Who knows? But that's just the reality. I mean, I'm not going to get too nitpicky in particular with Andy when it comes to some very granular decisions. I mean, like specific calls and those kind of things. He's been in those situations a million times. But hey, is he perfect? No. I mean, and that's the thing, is that sometimes, especially when I think it comes to the bigger, broader decisions, sometimes you can get just too close to the situation. And that's, how mistakes can get made. And everybody does it. Everybody's got blind sides. Everybody does. And when they have blind sides, it's usually about people. And so that's why, I mean, I don't think that there's usually a lot of decisions Andy Reid makes that are poor decisions when it comes to strategy or anything of that nature. Even game planning, I'll give him a pass on a lot of things. But again, most football decisions that I think that most coaches make mistakes on are when it just comes to people, because they're human. There's personal decisions that involved in these things, and that's where they're sometimes weak. And that's where, I mean, Andy's weaknesses we talked about has been loyalty. He has made mistakes because he's kept people around him for too long. Bob Sutton was a great example of that. I mean, every football coach makes decisions that are incorrect based on people. So I don't think Andy Reid's above criticism. Luttrell, how strict is Clark with his cash to cap spending? Some new owners are more willing to use some cap tricks. Doesn't it feel like a time to be cheap with Mahomes? And it's a good question, Luttrell, a good observation, because yes, the Chiefs are one of those teams they are what we call a cap to cash team, which is that it's not that they don't use some salary cap tricks and anything sort of that nature, but they want their annual spending to still be similar, close to the cap, just because they don't want to blow out. I mean, they don't want to be a team that, if the salary cap is $300 million, they don't want to be blowing out $400 million in contracts one year. Some of that is certainly just fiscal responsibility. I mean, I don't know what the Chiefs make. I'm sure they make a lot of money. So, but I mean, once again, I guess it's never enough. So there's one part of that's decision. The other part of it is that, I mean, the Chiefs, they simply don't want to be a team that ever runs into cap crisis. And some teams that are using a lot of salary cap tricks, I mean, say what you will, at some point down the road, and I mean, the reckoning is coming. The Eagles are going to have a reckoning. Now, the way that Howie Roseman structures them is pretty nifty, because that reckoning, it might not be until the 2030s. Well, I'm probably going to be dead by the 2030s. So I don't necessarily think that that's the way Howie Roseman's thinking about it, but it sets it off for a long, long time. But you look at the numbers, and I mean, it'll just tell you, I mean, the Eagles are going to have a lot of cap money on guys going into the 2030s that aren't even on the team anymore. And the Chiefs are going to have had some of those problems too. They're going to continue to have problems when you're paying Patrick Mahomes a lot of money. But I don't even necessarily think that they're being cheap. And they're certainly not one of those teams when you're talking about the cap to cash teams. You're talking about the Chiefs. They're also not going to be one of those teams that when the cap is $300 million and they're spending $180 million, that's not going to happen anytime soon. So I actually agree with Chiefs' strategy. I don't think that it's a detriment at all. So. It's a lightning round edition, and no one who else
don't use the word lightning round.
Champion.
Don't use the word lightning round.
I'm using the word lightning round.
We know you're going to be on here until 9. We know you're going to be on here until 9:30, man. Let's not.
It's the only way that I'll learn.
People.
I'm not.
You're not going to learn. I've accepted you're not going to learn.
I believe I can get it done. So
I appreciate the enthusiasm, but you have to actually do it.
I believe in myself.
We'll see.
So, how are you tonight, Nick?
I'm here, Matt. I'm here.
I mean, is there anything on your mind? We have not talked today, I don't believe. So, anything on your mind? Anything you want to get off your chest?
Okay? Are you doing okay?
I mean, I guess so. I mean, I'm here. I look a little red. I still don't know what quite that is all about. I don't know.
Okay. All right. No, I don't have anything on my mind. To the questions.
Might be a lighting issue. All right. Well, hey, we're doing that. Let's see. StreamYard says this is a question, so I'm just checking to make sure that it actually is. Yeah, it's not really a question. Brian, you know what I'm talking about. Jackson, do you think Andy will continue to give targets when Rice and Worthy are back? Will continue to Jackson, I think you were looking for a specific order there. I'm assuming you're talking about Tyquan Thornton. Will continue to give him. That would make the most sense to me, Nick.
So Jackson, let me explain something here. A play call is just a play call. Like, it's based on down a distance, hash, and everything, and There's option 1, option 2, option 3. The defense determines who's available or who's not available on any given play. And the offensive line and their pass protection, depending on how much time they give, decides how much time Mahomes has to survey and make the throw that he wants. Everybody that wants the downfield throws, guess what? Patrick's got to take a handful of extra drops to be able to launch that because they don't exactly have a clean pocket. It's not like a McDonald's arch like it should be, or one of the arches. It's not like that. Like part of it's caved in, part of it, had something happen here, something happened there, and so it's just not. It's not the cleanest pocket in the world. So when people are like, I can't believe Patrick missed that throw. How could he miss that throw? Well, did you see that defensive end that made him have to hop off his spot 2 steps, and then he had to hurry the throw because the guy to his left, he couldn't see anymore, and he knows how small the margins are for this offense, and he has to do this thing called get rid of the ball quickly so that they can avoid a potential ball getting knocked out and a turnover happening. Just like whenever Patrick had to make that it was a bad decision, but he still made it. Whenever Pacheco's out there in the flats and Pacheco decides not to, just fall on the ball either time. That wasn't the best throw, but Patrick was rushed and he's like, I got to get rid of this thing. This ain't going to work out. And, he trusted Pacheco to, hold on to the football. And he didn't either time.
You're right. I mean, sometimes, as we saw Nick on Sunday, sometimes you throw the football to somebody and you actually hit somebody else. So,
that happened on that third down for Thornton. Yep, he dove for that football, even though it was for Brown.
Yeah, I do. I think Tyquan's still going to be part of the offense. If anything, actually, I think that the addition of Rice and Worthy will actually help Tyquan even more because. He's, I think, going to see some even better situations. Think about right now what matchups he's seeing. I mean, if he's now going to start seeing maybe the third top corner, maybe a safety, it could end up helping him.
And for all know, there might be an injury between now and then that happens, and none of this matters at all.
That's why, to me, you want to hold on to as much depth as you can. We had the question earlier about would you trade Hollywood Brown once Rice and Worthy
are they giving a running back?
This scenario was like a mid to late round pick.
Are they giving a running back?
In this scenario,
is this giving you a draft pick that gets you a running back?
Maybe a fifth round running back in 2027. Who knows?
No, I'm saying it gets you a pick now, so you can trade that pick now for a running back.
Trade the pick right now for a running back. I gotcha. Well, if somebody wants a 5th round pick in 2027, maybe.
Again, I've stated my answer. Will it get them a running back? Will it get them a running back?
That's what you would want back. There you go.
That's what they need. That's what they need.
Jackson's second question. Do you think the cornerback room is overachieving, especially without Fulton right now?
No, I think Steve Spagnuolo knows what his room can and can't do now after the Chargers game. And so they've adjusted what they're doing coverage-wise based on where their skill set's at. He just needed to see it in like a legitimate live game action when another team's trying to actually move the ball down the field and score on them, and it's not like just a preseason game where everybody's out there having fun.
Yeah, they play a lot of safeties against the Giants. And part of that was obviously their strategy about how they were going to tackle and try and take away the deep ball. But essentially, it's pretty much right now McDuffie and Jalen Watson with Noel Williams kind of sprinkling in there a little bit. You still have Chamari Connor, Chris Roland Wallace doing some work in the slot, and McDuffie playing a little bit more in the slot too. But if anything, I think it's a good sign that the Chiefs right now, they're getting good play from the secondary, especially their corners, and they should be getting his corners back. Najee Johnson will be back soon. We'll see about Christian Fulton when he could be back, but they should at least get their depth back, which is something that they could use. Brian, I don't know what madness will never end, but if you want to specify the madness, I'll come back to you.
All I know is Brian has a lot of comments in there.
Brian says a lot of things. Brandon, guys, did you see how well they played last night? Well, I guess you mean Sunday night.
He's talking about the Ravens.
Talking about the Ravens? Okay. I guess they did play last night. Made some mistakes last night, too.
The Lions forced Lamar to have to make decisions. And when Lamar has to make decisions versus having the answer right in front of him, he He gets put in pressure cooker situations and he collapses. That's just who he is as a quarterback. So, doesn't matter who the opponent is. If it's a pressure cooker situation, the Bills last year, the Lions last night, the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game, just when it gets to a certain point, like when the pressure's on and the answer's not right there in front of him, and you kind of take away his legs or put doubt in his legs and being able to run the ball, then he has a lot of unnecessary turnovers.
And I mean, Lions did what the Chiefs try and do against Lamar too, which is to do exactly that, to put the ball in his hands on his arm and make him beat you that way. So we'll see if D Spagnuolo can do it again. A lot of questions about Tyquan Thornton tonight, Nick. Mitchell Thornton will stick as a starter when everybody's healthy, right? He looks as good as Worthy ever has right now. I mean, Worthy has only got 1 year to show you at this point. I personally think Worthy's better than Tyquan Thornton, but your mileage may vary. They're different receivers. They can do different things. I mean, I think Worthy has a lot more upside, but Tyquan Thornton's playing very, very well right now. So, I mean, you still want him to get snaps, though, when those guys are back.
Should be playing well right now. He's kind of one of the only receivers out there that can make a difference right now. So, no, I don't think the guy who's helping make a difference when they don't have Worthy and Rice is going to sit on the bench. I don't anticipate that happening. Now, the real question everybody needs to ask is, could Thornton see more snaps than Hollywood Brown? That's the real question. Whenever Rice and Worthy potentially come back, and then you got to assume that question assumes that everybody's going to stay healthy, man. You don't know. Week to week, somebody got hurt. Chiefs had a lot of plans for Rice and Worthy. Suspension happens. Then Worthy gets laid out by Travis Kelce on a crossing route. Things change quickly. So as long as everybody stays healthy, they will use everybody who helps them win football games in some capacity.
There you go. Brother Rick with the super chat. Thank you very much, Rick. He believes that the Chiefs turned a corner on offense with the misdirection. I'm sure that Brett Veach regrets not drafting Jonathan Taylor instead of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That is an interesting thought, Nick. I mean, if in 2020 hindsight, if you had to do over again, would you take Jonathan Taylor?
Here's what I'm gonna say to people.
I like it. Poisons well.
Look, we can all make assumptions about things. I'm not saying Brett doesn't probably wish he had gone a different road than Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but there's a reason why he went Clyde Edwards-Helaire instead of Jonathan Taylor at that time. And I know a lot of other NFL teams were nervous about the tread on his tires. And here's the other kicker. Like, we just assume because it's a name and they're doing well somewhere else that they're a scheme fit for what the Chiefs do or want to do or are trying to do. So with Taylor specifically, he may not be the same Jonathan Taylor here that he is in Indy. He may not be that guy. They may not give him enough touches where he gets in a certain rhythm like he does in Indy. They may not be under center a handful of times like Taylor wants. Like, if they felt that he was like the rock star back out of shotgun and great in screen and all these other things, then they probably draft him over Clyde to begin with. But Clyde came out of a similar type of offense at LSU that the Chiefs were running, so the Chiefs thought they could plug him in and that it would go the way that they wanted because they needed a running back then. And let's be honest, they haven't been able to replace what they lost in Damian Williams. Still to this day, haven't been able to replace it. So I get what you're saying, Brother Rick, but the bigger question that people need to ask is, would they have used them the right way if they were here?
There you go. That is an excellent question. And, and remember too, I mean, Jonathan Taylor's been hurt. So there's a couple of years where he wouldn't have necessarily helped you win a Super Bowl. And maybe that's the oddity, Nick. I mean, and let's just say for a moment that he was a scheme fit, that the Chiefs maybe just used things differently and that he was a productive player, but still had the same injuries. If anything, I mean, okay, maybe he helps you beat the Tampa Bay, although I still don't know if there's anybody could have, kept the Chiefs from falling to Tampa Bay on that night. It was just, one of those, once again, nights that the Chiefs did not match up well. I don't know if one player would have made a difference. Would he have made a difference in 2021? I don't know. I know he would not have made a difference in 22 or 23 because he was hurt. So maybe it was, Maybe it was meant to be, Nick. I don't know, but you're right. There was a reason why the Chiefs took Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They thought that he was going to be a better fit. Didn't necessarily work out. He's been hurt too. Aaron, will the Chiefs still use Worthy on reverses and quick screen passes to get him the ball, or take away those to protect his shoulder and just use him on deep routes? I've been asked this a lot, Nick, and you and I haven't talked about it, so I'm curious what you think.
Anything that avoids contact, you got to take away from Worthy right now. That's number one. So Brashard Smith's going to end up having to do that stuff more than likely, or somebody else on the roster, because I just don't think if you put Worthy in those situations and risk him getting that shoulder hit, it's not going to – I don't know if it's going to work out well this year.
Yeah, because teams are going to try and be physical with him anyway.
They're going to try to attack him. They're going to try to slam him in the ground.
They're going to do all of those things. So, yes, it will be tricky to try and protect him. But I'm sure the Chiefs will have to try and do some things. They're going to have to try and protect that. Scott, with all of the field antics involving Kelce right now, are you worried about becoming toxic with the locker room, especially with the negative plays?
So what I'm going to throw back at you, Scott, is a question in itself. And what that question is, what are the antics about? What exactly is it that Travis Kelce's upset about? None of us actually genuinely know what he's upset about. All we see is the result on the field. All we see is that for him athletically, he's obviously not the same player because he's got too many snaps, as Matt and I have talked about on a regular basis here for months on end. So the real question is, what is his frustration? And if he's not at the podium, we can't ask it. If I don't see him in the locker room, if I get the opportunity to go in the locker room, I can't ask him. So I don't have an answer for you right now on that front, but I think that's the question that you have more than anything else is what's the frustration about for Kelce? And he has every right to do that because, as Andy Reid said in the Zoom on Monday, Travis Kelce's the only player that's been here the entire time Andy Reid has. So that dude's got a lot of, as they love to say, sweat equity invested in this football team, more so than any other single player on this roster. There's only 2 or 3 other coaches that have been on this roster the same, or have been in this organization the same amount of time that Travis Kelce is. And in fact, remember correctly, I think Kelce's been here longer than Brett Veach has. So there's just not a lot of people that can have the cachet that Travis Kelce does to voice the opinion that he needs to, express what he needs to, and get some people to get their rears in gear. Because as Andy Reid said on Monday, Travis knows how this offense is supposed to operate, how it's supposed to work, and how it's supposed to be. And he knows that whether it's him going through him or not. And I guarantee it's not about him not getting the ball. I promise you that much. But I do think there is frustration with probably some accountability stuff that needs to be corrected and needs to be fixed. And he is voicing that to his teammates. And it got caught on camera between him and Andy Reid.
Yeah, and if I knew what they were talking about, I'd tell you, but I don't know, and they're not telling us. So Andy has given us his truth from a certain point of view. But I'm going to bring in Chris's question along with this too, because when will the hard conversation be had regarding Kelce and his level of performance this season? I know a lot of you probably listen to New Heights, and as I've been reminded by a lot of people of Swifties on Twitter who were not happy with my questions last week, Travis said that they put a lot on his plate, and I thought that was worthy of exploring last week about whether Travis thinks that there's too much on his plate. Do the Chiefs think that his plate needs to be rearranged and have fewer items on it? And what Travis told me in the locker room on Friday was that wasn't entirely what he was trying to say is that, the offense is certainly built for the tight end to do a lot. He feels like it's his obligation to do that. When he's not living up to his own expectations, then he feels like that he's let the team down. I asked him specifically if he felt like that he needed fewer responsibilities and fewer snaps, and he said no, that he trusts the offensive coaching staff to determine what his workload needs to be. But I asked him specifically if he was going to be taking himself off the field, if he felt that he needed a breather, or there were moments that if he felt that somebody else could be fresher at that moment than he was, would he take himself off the field? And his response to me was that if he felt that way, he would quit right now. and that he'd retire. You'd see him on the sidelines. So I don't expect anything to change, Chris. Travis Kelce's workload is going to be determined by the coaches. They're the ones that are going to pull him on and put him on the field. That will be their decision. Travis wants to be out there for every snap that he can. And once again, I mean, I think it's a little bit less like last year. He feels a certain obligation to be out there with Pat right now because Pat's top two guys are hurt. It was very similar to last year. So I think it's the same conversation. And if that conversation is ever going to be had, it's going to be had between Andy Reid and Travis Kelce. Will it ever be had? I don't know. Brandon, can we please move on from Andy Heck already? I know it's an answer to that.
That's not happening in season, man. They don't have anybody else that can coach that O-line respectfully. I mean, Corey Matei they could put him in that role if he has to use the assistant O-line coach. If they wanted to make him the official O-line coach or interim O-line coach or whatever the heck you want to call it, then they could try that. But Andy Reid's not exactly the type that's going to do something in season. If anything were to happen, that would be in the off season. So you guys can ask every week, but it's the results. If it were to come to fruition, that ain't happening until February or March.
No, it was the Falcons, right? That fired Ike Hilliard this week.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. That does not happen very often.
No, position coaches rarely happen. Now, offensive coordinators sometimes, but whenever that happens, that's because the head coach is trying to buy more time to continue to get the checks to continue to clear for another year. Just like I promise you, Brian Dable did not want to start Jackson Dart, but he knew he had to because he was backed against a wall at this point, and he's trying to keep his job now. He got to the point where he knew he has to do what he has to do to keep his job now, but he was not going to do that from the start until he was backed against a wall.
And you always know when a coach is in a tough spot and has their back against a wall, because Andy Reid will do a press conference where he absolutely extols their virtues trying to save their job. And he did that for Brian Dable on Sunday night after the game. Tyler, what was the whole reasoning for Josh Simmons not playing the last 6 snaps of the game? Andy's reasoning didn't make much sense to me. Moore should have been subbed in at right tackle, if anything. I'm going to fly something by you, Nick, and see what you think of this and if it's too crazy, because my feeling is that, I mean, Andy knows the political machinations both inside the building and outside the building amongst the fans. The game was over. They felt pretty comfortable at that point in control. You want to get Jalen Moore some work. If he goes in at right tackle, everyone thinks that Jawan's been benched. And I don't think that Andy wanted to send that message. So that's why he went in for Simmons, because otherwise everybody would take it perhaps the wrong way.
So first, I got to recognize Brian there. Yes, Brian, I am proud of you. Even though you've commented way too much in that chat section tonight, I am proud of you for not mentioning a guy's name who, at this point, him and his family should honestly have a restraining order against you for as much as you talk about. Now, getting to Tyler, I mean, that's the reality of it. So the whole reasoning, Tyler, in my book is, and it's been my theory since it happened, is you're not – Josh Simmons isn't going to get upset if you pull him. Like, there's not going to turn into a thing. And so you could get a couple snaps out there, see how he does against that Giants front, against that Giants level of pass rush, and then go from there. But like Matt said, if you put him in Jawan's spot and Jawan's the only guy that starting offensive line that gets taken out, then that becomes the story at the podium after. And then that becomes a story in the Zoom on Monday. Then that's a story again on Wednesday. When it happens again, whether it's 6 snaps or not, like, hey, is Moore going to start in Jawan's place? Is Moore going to start in Jawan's place? If it happens, or when it happens, they're going with that forward. Like, Moore will be this, in my book, Moore has to be the starting right tackle from that day forward, if and when they make that decision. Because I personally don't think Jawan's going to take well if he feels he's healthy enough and he's out there. If he gets pulled, I just don't see that going well. And then I think the Chiefs have a bigger mess on their hands, depending what time of the year they do it, what week it is, and all that type of stuff. But I'm just going to say this very bluntly. from watching the coaches film, I don't think Juwan's knee's doing too well right now. That's just me personally. I'm not a medical expert. I'm not Dr. Quinn, medicine woman. I'm not I'm not House from that Fox show. I'm not any fictitious medical person. I'm not a real medical person. I do go to doctor's offices on occasion, but even they aren't going to be able to help me on that front. But what I will say is, like, I just don't see, to me, it doesn't look like Juwan's putting even weight on both. I think he's favoring one knee versus the other. And when Brian Burns put him on his keister, I think part of that is because I think that knee hurts more than he's alluding to, or it's bothering him more than I think he's alluding to. And that's why I don't see the same sets that I did before. I just don't see that same level in the run game that I saw before. And when I see a guy change, whether it was D Ford when he had the back issues, or when it's somebody else Derek Nottie when I thought he had back issues, whenever I see those things on coach's film, I take note of that, and it stands out to where I'm like, okay, they're trying to play through something right now. And so yeah, just I don't know. We'll see, because I mean, and the other kicker is, depending on what he had done in the offseason, there may be some scar tissue there that just doesn't feel normal with it. So where maybe he's not necessarily on injury report, because it's not something he's getting treatment for, but a knee can feel weird. Because I know whenever I had my knee scoped, it felt weird for almost an entire year. So, I mean, that could be a possibility too. But yeah, at the end of the day, that's my long-winded answer of saying, if you do it, you have to, Moore has to become the guy at that point when you do that, and you can't turn back.
That is 100%. That's the thing, is that once you go away from Juwan, you're probably never going back for so many reasons. Mitchell, is Harrison Butker making you nervous every kick like he is me? Feel like he's going to lose games this season, way too overpaid to do anything about it. I mean, Butker has not been nails so far this season, but again, we're talking about a small sample size, 3 games, and I'm throwing the 47-yard PAT out the window because, I mean, first of all, I can't think of anything worse for a kicker than having to try and kick a 47-yard kick for one freaking point because your running back decided to do a gesture that he should, and everyone does know is against the rules. So I'm putting that miss on Kareem Hunt. I'm not putting it on Harrison Butker. But I mean, he's had some inconsistencies. He's changed his work. He's changed his follow through again. He's changed his warm up routine. He's changed everything this season. I mean, the guy reinvents himself almost every single season. I mean, he does that, but I don't know, has he just stumbled? I mean, that's one of the questions to ask to me for Dave Tobe on Thursday rather. I mean, has Harrison just over tweaked this year? I don't know.
I don't lose any sleep on it. I don't think about it too much. I'd prefer if they punch it in the end zone in the run game instead, and you don't even have to worry about it. So, I mean, Dave Tubman and him will get it figured out if there even is an issue, which I personally just don't see there being a big problem right now. So it's not in my top 10 list of things the Chiefs need to do to repeat as champions.
John, how do the pockets being created by the offensive line compare to years past from Mahomes and under Andy Heck? Line this year so far seems a little boom or bust on winning their reps. You have looked at this more than anybody else I know, Nick. So I'm prepared to just eat some popcorn while you chat.
I'm not going to go on a rant. I'm not going to do all that.
I wasn't trying to set you up for a rant. I just know that
when you talk popcorn, yeah, no. Look, the pocket is what it is. I mean, when Andy Heck and them do drills and have for over a decade, like whenever they're doing those drills, you're mentally teaching offensive linemen to retreat directly back, and sometimes that in a game situation that's going to mentally prepare them and train them to get back into Patrick's lap. So from a guard perspective, I personally would love to see something a little bit different in how they're training them, to have them widen guys out more and kind of fan them out more than what I feel like they do. That's just a personal preference on my part. And at the end of the day, it should honestly be whatever the heck Patrick wants. Almost cursed there. But anyways, it should be, you need to do what makes Patrick comfortable. So as an offensive line coach or whoever coordinator you title you have, It is you talk to Patrick. What makes you comfortable? What gives you the best throw? Then you go talk to the quarterback's coach. Then you talk to the OC, and you find out what does that quarterback need to be successful. What makes them comfortable most? What gives them the most comfort in the timing they're waiting for on their routes? And then that is what you revolve it all around. That's what you revolve your drills around. That's what you revolve what you think you're going to see from defenses this year around, and what weaknesses you have that defenses have attacked you with for over a decade, things of that nature. That's what you make sure you put on your checklist of things to train these guys on. So right now on your left side, there's going to be times where Simmons is going to let a guy get by him, but that dude still works through it. And in a couple of years, especially if he goes to O-line masterminds, he will be in great situation. Kingsley, he's either going to get beat real quick or he's going to potentially be able to hold on long enough till Patrick gets done what he needs to. Juwan right now is getting beat on a more regular basis than he has in years past. Trey may have a spot here or there from time to time. It's not routinely, and he's gone up against some elite defensive linemen, so it may happen from time to time. Creed is very rare, but I'm not saying it's 100% zero. So that's what you got. So what Patrick does to counter that sometimes is Patrick will take a couple more drops back, or he will roll out a little bit and then toss one up. If you take the Tyquan Thornton throw that led to the Kareem Hunt touchdown, Patrick, Juwan got beat on the right side. Somebody else got beat. So Patrick took off to his right to buy more time till Thornton got clear of what I think he was looking for safety-wise. And then Patrick, built the torque, was able to put the football down like he likes to when he wants to get the torque up, and then have enough. No, he didn't have anybody around him who's going to strip the football out and then put the proper amount of torque to throw it up to Thornton, trust him to go get it, and he went and got it. So, John, in terms of pocket, I think the pocket is what it is, man. If Joe Tooney was at left guard, you're now just worrying about, for the most part, your ends on a regular basis. But there is times where you do have to worry about the left guard situation. And we'll see where they're at as the weeks go on, as the years go on, or the months go on. Hopefully not years. And then, with Rice coming back, Mahomes may be able to get the ball out quicker to where it won't matter, and they may get in a rhythm quicker. Worthy comes back, teams may not be able to blitz in the same way or attack the same way with their pass rush. So we'll see if they ever get to full strength and what they can do from there.
There you go. One thing I will say is, at least to what the offensive line's doing right now, the pockets are creating for Patrick. The second half against the Giants saw more of this than we've seen in a while of Patrick at least using the pocket that he's got to buy time and push the ball downfield. Because even the first couple of games, that was a little bit of the scrambles were a little bit of Patrick just getting out of dodge because he felt like he had to. Second half against the Giants, at least he felt like he had the confidence and the time to move around and look downfield and made some big plays. So I'm encouraged because that was my take going into that Giants game, Nick, was that you just, at this point in the season, I think it's just let Pat be Pat. And I felt like that's exactly what they did in the second half, and it worked pretty well. So let's see if it's going to work this week.
11-minute warning for me, Matt.
11-minute warning?
Yep.
On your leaving?
Yes.
Okay.
That was exactly what 11-minute warning means.
Darren, is it a problem if Andy has to take it upon himself to try to fire up guys like Kelsey on the sideline? We're lacking juice. I don't think Andy was having to fire up Travis, but
no, you would have to fire up Travis.
They did have to fire some guys up in the second half. They were once again a little lacking in the juice department, I thought, in the first half.
Well, then if that keeps happening, they know who to replace next year. And they can go find their juice elsewhere.
Well, I think we know what O-line coach Nick would choose to replace Andy Heck with. We've discussed that many, many times.
It doesn't matter till February or March. And there's like 8 guys I got on my list. It's fine.
Nikki, will Tunyon ever get a target? I'm in this class too, Nick.
No, I asked Matt Nagy about it last week. He said that they really like him and they got packages for him. We'll see when those packages come to fruition. If there's a time where it should come to fruition, it's this week against the Ravens front.
I think that package got delivered to the wrong door by the DoorDasher. So
I hate when that happens.
Uncle Charlie, speaking of holding on to depth, how did linebacker Swayze Bozeman get away? It looked pretty solid on Sunday night and starting for the Giants, Nick. They are a terrible, terrible defense, but Swayze Bozeman starting for the Giants.
Well, if I remember correctly, he was on their practice squad and team. He wanted a better opportunity, so he took it. Went to the Bears, and then he got to the Giants.
Yep. And I mean, give the Chiefs credit. They crank out undrafted free agent linebackers like they're going out of style and turn them into productive players. I mean, I think Ben Neiman's still kicking around somewhere. Linda, what is your assessment of Kingsley? That was all the talk, and now I hear nothing, which seems positive. Is that positive, Nick?
Like I said a couple questions ago, Kingsley either gets beat really quickly or he sort of holds his own for the most part. I mean, I think he's a serviceable guard, but I think there's still a lot left for him to. There's still a lot left for him to be able to become a Pro Bowler or All-Pro if that's what he's after.
Darren, what offensive skill position players has Veach hit on besides Rasheed? I'd take Xavier Worthy as well.
I mean, could, sure, but I mean, I'd like to see more than 1 year of production.
Need to see more than 1 year. I mean, that is lacking, isn't it, Nick?
Let me go through the list.
I mean, Jehu Chesson did stick around for a little while in the league.
I mean, you could debate Pacheco for his first 2 years before things started catching up with him. But, I mean, yeah, for the most part, Rice is going to be the primary at this point.
Yeah, it's obviously area of improvement. Jesus with the super chat. Thank you, Jesus. Call me crazy for screaming at Bolton for not wrapping up on the tackles. He did have one in particular. Scadaboo just kind of ran right through him, Nick. But I mean, he had 14 tackles. I did not see his missed tackle count. That was the only one that I remember standing out to me. So let's see if I can look up his numbers real quick. But do you have any thoughts on that?
Crazy.
He
said, call me crazy. So I called him crazy.
You're calling Jesus crazy.
He said, call me crazy. So I'm doing what he asked. I don't know. It's a lot of tackles. Bolton set a tempo. He set the defense. They played a great game. And they had a great game plan by Steve Spagnuolo 2 weeks in a row. So, I mean, they did what they had to do to come out of the win.
I mean, 3 games in, and he does have 4 missed tackles this year, which is a missed tackle percentage of 12.5, which would be the highest of his career. He had 13 missed tackles last year, which was a career high, and that was 10.9%. I would say, I mean, that's a legitimate question, but again, small sample size, so I probably need to see some more work, Jesus. But I was pleased with the performance like the other night, and like I said, I mean, yeah, that Scadaboo kind of put him down, but that's about the one thing that Cam Scadaboo can do. I mean, he can barrel through some guys. This might not be exactly where I left off, but we're going to find out. When Mike McDaniel gets fired, should the Chiefs consider hiring him to serve in the same position he held with the 49ers from Flynn?
No.
I'm only finding this amusing because I did ask Nick if there was any position open for Mike McDaniel on the Chiefs staff. I even tried to get him to selling peanuts, and it was a no-go.
Keep that guy far away. Keep Mike McDaniel far away from this. Don't need any more undisciplined. Don't need an undisciplined coach coming in here trying to tell people what to do. No, thank you. He can go be undisciplined in Miami and let that thing fall apart.
Charlie, how would you divide up the carries going forward? How many carries can you take away from Pop before it's pointless to give him any run at all?
I mean, how many times are they running per game right now? 15 at best?
Less than that, because I think he only had 10 carries on Sunday.
Okay, and look, the reality is this: they're not going to give Brashard Smith every single touch. Like, I think they're going to use, like, I don't think we're going to see who Brashard can actually be in this offense till like after week 8 or week 9, whenever they normally start trusting the rookies and putting them out there on a more regular basis. We saw Brashard out there doing the orbit motion, all the motions that Tyreek and McColl used to do. Like, that's an encouraging sign in itself. We'll see if that continues and they try to use him more as a receiver, or if they ever actually put him in the backfield or utilize him in the flats as a receiver / running back hybrid. Whatever they do, he's got the speed they need on the football field. So figure out a way, figure out packages, and put him the heck out there if you're trying to win football games. But if you're trying to have a trust party, then you're going to be waiting until week 8 or 9, and you may lose some more games because of it. So,
Pacheco's averaging 8.3 carries per game. Kareem 7.7. Brashard one carry. I mean, honestly, reality of it is, I think both those running backs.
4-minute warning.
if you hooked both those up to a lie detector test, both Kareem and Pacheco would tell you that they're neither one of them are getting enough touches, that they need more work to get steady and get into a rhythm. But Chris wants to know: is there anything specifically you see with Butker that's an issue?
No,
you said, Nick, you're not worried. You just.
I don't watch kickers. To be honest, Dave Tobe gets paid for it. He'll figure it out. I'm gonna watch everything else.
I mean, I am going to ask him about the follow because the follow through once again is inconsistent, and then Tobe always gives us the truth. So he lays it out there. So I'll be interested to see what he has to say on Thursday.
There you go. Check on Thursday.
Joe, Chiefs did not look ready to play. Giants, players missing assignments, players running around totally lost on the field. Why so many breakdowns on offense?
I don't know what to tell you.
Did you feel like there were a lot of breakdowns on offense?
Oh, they looked terrible on offense in the first half. That's the worst.
The first half was quite terrible. Yes,
so it was some of the worst offensive performance in the Chiefs do since like Christmas Day game against the Raiders, and so I can't give you an answer on it. I can't give you a reason on it. The coaches are going to have to put some foots in keisters like Red Foreman, and then go from there.
Yeah. I think I know the answer to this one. Flynn, do you think Pacheco gets a second contract from the Chiefs?
I mean, if I'm in their shoes, no. But I didn't think Karlaftis was going to get paid what he got paid, and he did. So they always find a way to surprise me.
Nikki, if Juwan is struggling with his knee, why not take him out?
That's an assumption on my part.
And I mean, no, I don't think it's a bad. I mean, it's not an incorrect assumption. I agree with your assumption, and he's been on the injury report with both the knee and an ankle, so there's an issue there. I mean, there's a potential issue there.
Only thing I can tell Nikki is like they obviously feel like he's the best option, or if they do take him out, I'm telling you, like I don't know how. I think you're going down a road where once you take him out and put somebody else in, like. That's going to be tough to go back from that.
You are not Dr. Quinn medicine woman, Nick? I still find that hard to believe.
It's a tough break. 2 minutes.
Darren, what do you know about the health of Janarius Robinson? I don't know anything specifically. I just know he is out for the season since he was put on the timing that he was put on IR. So you will not be seeing Janarius Robinson back this season.
Boom, problem solved.
Problem solved. Luttrell, Matt, do you take responsibility for Butker's slow start? No, I'm putting this on Harrison because he's the one that decided to show up at 8 o'clock every freaking morning. So that is totally Harrison's decision and all his problem.
Wow. One of the few times Matt Derrick has not blamed himself for something. For people that don't know, Matt blames himself for literally everything that happens in the world.
I mean, this is one. You're right, Nick. This is the one thing that is not my fault. So,
the final question.
Uncle Charlie. I mean, trying to find some Hy-Vee finds. Do we have any Hy-Vee finds tonight before you leave?
Okay, so Uncle Charlie, here's the problem. The produce section is always going to be the same there, bud. Like you can't create new flavors. There's not a new flavor of tomato. There's not a new flavor of apple or orange or bananas or any of that type of stuff. So like asking me to keep your to find new things in the produce section. I don't know. I feel like produce has kind of been the same thing for the past 30, 40, 50 years. So I don't think I can help you on that one, bud.
Here's an excellent question, though. I don't know. I mean, I guess there's always things happening in science, but we're not quite there yet. All right, Nick, thank you. I appreciate you.
It was definitely an interesting question to go out on.
Well, I was trying to see if we had any Hy-Vee finds before before so you could stick around.
Sorry, my time is up at this point. So
Luttrell says that you should give us your Hy-Vee rewards number so that you can get some discount gas.
good luck to you all.
Thanks, Nick. Much appreciated as always, my friend. Got a few more questions here, so we'll fire them up and get them all done. I know there was a couple that I skipped over because I knew Nick was trying to get out of here, and I was afraid that a couple of them might take us down a longer path. So I wanted to try and get as many questions for Nick as I could. So let me circle back real quick because I know. Oh, let's see. I think I did that to you, Philosopher. And this one, I think I would love for you to have this back up with Nick because I only didn't ask him because I know that Nick would be able to give you a 5-minute answer on this one, and I knew he was trying to get out the door. But with which of the upcoming defensive lines concerns you the most based on the remaining schedule beyond what you had expected in the preseason? So maybe not the Broncos or maybe Lions in regards to the O-line matchup. And I mean, part of it, I'll tell you from my perspective, Philosopher Raptor. I mean, it's hard for me because I'm still learning these teams. I mean, Nick does a much better job of watching the entire league, so he's got a handle on things. I'm so busy for the most part trying to keep up with everything on this team that until like week of, I'm not usually watching a lot of film of the other teams. I mean, unless like there's a big game that week. I mean, like the Ravens. Which, I mean, even the Ravens, I don't think their defensive front has been as big and bad as it has been in the past. I mean, just looking through the schedule, I mean, if you're talking about just, anybody that would pop up and surprise you a little bit, I mean, you've already seen the Chargers, you know what they can do, Buffalo pretty well. I'm not really sure where the Commanders are right now. I'll be honest. I mean, at first blanch, and like I said, this is 30,000 foot view. Nick would do a better job with it than I would for sure. I don't know if there's any defensive line that just like I look at it and it terrifies me after the bye week. I mean, once you get past the Buffalo and Denver to a certain extent, so I guess you like you said, you're kind of excluding those and the Lions. Lions are going to be a tough unit. Here's the thing, too. I mean, I think you're hoping is that by the time you get to the bye week and after that, the Chiefs' offensive line is going to be different. That you're going to have some of the young guys start to gel, especially on the left side of the line. Maybe they'll get some things fixed and ironed out and getting some of the communication issues and execution issues that they've had an issue with and get on the same page. Chiefs could have injuries. Other teams could have injuries, too. So, that's the thing. I mean, a lot of that can and will change, especially 3 games into the season. Nobody is really who they are yet. So that's my weaselly answer, Philosopher Raptor, for not giving you a very good answer. Nick could have given you a much better answer to that. And hey, if you come in next Tuesday and ask that question, I will look for it and try and get it to Nick because, like I said, he could give you a much better answer than I could. And I know Sharon, I know you had one that I had to skip over. No, I'm trying to find it. Oh yeah. BJ Kissel and KCSN's take on Jawan Taylor was that he does more good than bad. Thoughts? I think that's certainly what the Chiefs kind of viewpoint is of it. I mean, I think that's a pretty good way to put it. I mean, but I circle back to what Nick said, which is that, you do not make the decision to take Jawan Taylor out of the lineup and replace him with Jalen Moore lightly. And this is, to me, it's not even like casting an aspersion of any sort on Jawan. It's just, like I said, if any random football player, it doesn't have to be Jawan Taylor. It could be anybody in the league, but particularly like 7-year veterans. I mean, if you take their job away from them, if you bench them, it's human nature. It just is. I mean, if I'm at work and I'm my own boss, so I guess that's part of my problem here. Nobody hold me accountable except myself. But when I had a boss, hey, if my boss benched me and took my responsibilities away and gave them to somebody else, I mean, there's different ways that you can respond, but a lot of people check out. I mean, that's just the reality, and especially in football. I mean, that's kind of what happens. I mean, if you're a starter and you've been around the league and you've done this for so much time, and you get pulled out of the lineup, I mean, you do tend to check out. We've seen it happen a lot. I mean, quarterbacks, I think you're kind of legendary for that. That if you take out your quarterback and then you have to come back to them a second time, almost never goes well. It's true for other players as well. And I'm not certain that that's the Chiefs' logic. I think that there's a reasonable chance that is at the heart of their logic, which is that they want Juwan Taylor to be able to have to play that position without looking over his shoulder, not being worried about what's happening behind him. They don't want anything that's going to affect his outlook. They've got a lot invested in Juwan Taylor financially, so they could really use that roster spot to work out. They don't want it to fail. So they would like for Juwan to succeed, and they want to give him every opportunity to do that. Because once again, I mean, you have to assume, I mean, and like I said, this has nothing about Juwan Taylor. This is just the way that the world works. And especially it can work in football, is that when you bench somebody and you do that to them psychologically, they're just not the same for you after that. So let's work through that part of the problem. You bench Juwan Taylor and you take him out. You put in Jalen Moore. You get an injury. Are you putting Juwan Taylor back in there? I mean, especially if if let's say you get two injuries, which wasn't that long ago that the Chiefs lost both their starting tackles. They've had that happen before. So you bought both your tackles out. Now you need Juwan Taylor and Wanya Morris be starting. I mean, and if you can't go back to Juwan and feel comfortable with him, there's nobody else behind him. There's nobody else that's. I mean, you're going to be going and finding a tackle off the street to come in and play for you. So, I mean, hey, you can get bad luck, and those things will happen, and you could end up with bad luck. And that so that you may, I mean, what happens? What if something happens to Josh Simmons and Juwan Taylor? Now, you could still end up with Wanya Morris and Jalen Moore starting for you at some point this season. I mean, injuries and bad luck happen, but the Chiefs, they want it to work out with Juwan. And once again, I mean, some of the metrics are not as bad as people think that they are. I get his PFF grade bad, but some of his individual metrics and numbers are fine. Would you like for them to be better, especially in the run game, especially with the issues with the penalties? Sure. And hey, is there an injury that is causing it? I don't know. He's been on the injury report with both the knee and the ankle, so maybe that is limiting him. Maybe that, and it was certainly, I think, probably more difficult on turf in New York than it would be on a grass situation in Kansas City. I mean, I can't really disagree with BJ's take. I mean, that could certainly be the overarching logical philosophy of the Chiefs, but I do think that at the base of it is that that is at the root of why that there's not going to be, I think, a change immediately. I don't think there will be unless there is an injury, is that they want Juwan Taylor to succeed this season. They want him to play his best football. They need him to play his best football. And once you make that change, I just don't think you can ever go back. And I just don't think they want to take that chance. So, Flynn, I misread that. I thought it was a different question than one we talked about earlier. So, yes, Lateral, not my fault. Hy-Vee fines. We're getting back to getting caught up here. Flynn, I think Butker's problem is that he has his foot in his mouth a lot over the past year. I don't think he's concerned about any of that at all. I mean, I know he doesn't want to talk about it. He has said he'll talk about football. He doesn't want to talk about the things other than football. I don't think that's it. I think it's just, I mean, this has kind of been Harrison Butker's entire career. He can get streaky. He can have some periods where he struggles. But the one thing that's consistently been true about him is that he usually kicks his way out of it. So, and I don't even know if after 3 games you can really call it a struggle, because like I said, that 47-yard PAT. No, I throw that one out. I'm not worried about that one. That's you can't put their kicker in that spot and not expect there to miss some of those. Those are no longer 95% kicks. Those are now more like 60. Well, hey, good kickers, 80% kicks. It's going to happen. So I'm not worried about any of the off the field issues or anything that Harrison Butker says off the field. I think that gets left left off the field. Man, Weston, we should have talked about sport coffee. See if Nick had any sport coffee today. Oh, I did miss this from Jesus on the super chat. Thank you, Jesus, once again. Second super chat of the night. I appreciate that. Any news on Royals or Mitchell lack of play? Now with Royals, I mean, I was a little surprised that they even had him as active this week. You know, Andy Reid explained on Monday that he was kind of a break glass in case of emergency, that if they really needed him, he could have played, but they didn't really want him to. I thought that was a curious answer because I felt like if you still felt like Royals was in that position where you don't want him to play, maybe, you know, you got like a Jimmy Holiday that's on your practice squad. Maybe that's a guy that you activate and have him be there ready if in case of break glass in case of emergency, because he really felt like Jalen Royals couldn't play, then maybe Jalen Royals shouldn't play. But Elijah Mitchell, a little bit more interesting. I mean, Chiefs haven't really addressed it specifically, but I mean, part of it is obviously they feel like at this point in time, he's the fourth best running back on the team, and they're going to only have 3 active on game day. And like I mentioned earlier, I still think that, you know, Mitchell didn't look like Elijah Mitchell during training camp. He had some moments, but he didn't look like the Elijah Mitchell of old. Now, he is once again coming off season-ending injury and coming off surgery, so he's still knocking the rust off a little bit. And I think that was certainly the Chiefs' philosophy in keeping him on the 53 to see what happens. I think they just wanted to give him some more time to continue knocking that rust off, see what happens at some point. Because let's face it, whether it's play or injury, you're going to go through a couple more running backs in a season. So I don't think there's any doubt that Elijah Mitchell is going to get some work this year. Brashard Smith is certainly going to get some work this year. Like I said, whether it's because the guys in front aren't executing and they get their chances, and Brashard Smith would be logically the first man up there, right, for your football cliches. If Kareem and Pacheco are struggling, you'll get Brashard getting more touches. If somebody goes down, Elijah Mitchell is going to be active. So I think that's, you know, at least the logic of the depth chart and where he is right now. And like I said, I mean, I think he's there because it's still, he's just not all the way back from the injury yet. And he's had a couple of injuries he's had to deal with. So that probably just extends it a little bit. But the Chiefs, at least my take on it is that they still feel like that it's a good, affordable, low risk bet on the upside on Elijah Mitchell, that they still may get something out of him. Royals we'll see this week. I mean, he was a full participant last week. I would expect that he's going to be full again this week, as long as there's no setback. If there's no setback, he should be active this week, and we'll see what happens if he actually gets to play a little bit. I don't know if I can say the same thing for sure about Xavier Worthy. His knee got a little sore on Saturday, and that's why they ended up shutting him down. Could be the same thing. I mean, he could go through practice this week and get sore Saturday, Sunday morning, and the Chiefs decide that they need to shut him down and not play him in this game. So we'll see what happens, but I mean, they're both obviously moving in the right direction. At least Royals is from the injury standpoint. And like both, I talk about Worthy. Mitchell, I think it's just a matter of time. I think you're going to see him at some point this year, but like I said, it may not be until an injury pops up in front, and that's when he gets his opportunity. I was thinking about seasonal vegetables there, Uncle Charlie. So I did think about that. Yeah, because I mean, there's actually, I know how excited everybody gets when the cuties come in, so that's a big deal. Banana bread, Brian. You know what? Banana bread can surprise me. I've had some really good banana bread, but in general, I do not like banana bread. But well, yeah, anything's good with butter. I mean, that's for sure. Yes, Luttrell, Nikki, and Brian. Yes, absolutely, 100%. And I've had some good zucchini bread. Man, I really missed this earlier when I was saying, I mean, and Nick thinks that was a bad question to go out on. You guys are absolutely proving that it was a great question to go out on. So we need to clearly, I mean, Nikki, like I said, if we ever get Hy-Vee as a sponsor, and we can get like the experts to come in here and give us a take on some Hy-Vee finds in the produce market, I'll be all over it. But I mean, I'm going to concede right here that Nick and I are probably not the two best guys to ask about the produce section, because I mean, I buy a little produce, but not as much as I should. Mitchell, why has nobody mentioned that if Butker hadn't missed 2 kicks, the Chiefs would have beaten the Eagles? I mean, it was legitimate. I mean, no, absolutely. I mean, that was what, a 54-yarder, I think, on the field goals that he missed. I mean, that's a legitimate kick to make. I mean, that's within his wheelhouse. That's something that Harrison has been really good at in his career. So yeah, no, I mean, I think it was absolutely legitimate. I mean, I felt like we mentioned it, maybe not to the extent that it maybe should have gotten mentioned, Mitchell. It's probably a good point. But and obviously, hey, neither of the missed kicks on Sunday against the Giants put that game in any danger whatsoever. But if Harrison misses one again, that does, and timing matters a lot too. I mean, nobody's going to usually talk that much about a kick at the end of the first half. People only care about kicks at the end of the game. Those are the ones, if you make them or miss them, everybody cares about. If it's a make or miss early in the game, they just don't get as much attention and people forget about them. So I think that's the biggest reason why. It's just, it comes down to what happens at the end. If kicks get missed early, people don't usually think about them that much. But it goes into the record. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And if this continues to be a trend for Harrison, it's something that we definitely will be discussing at some point. Dang, we had to catch up faster than I thought we would. Also because it's just a lot of talk about the produce section at Hy-Vee. So I'm starting to think, damn, we really need to get Hy-Vee as a sponsor, and perhaps do like the show live from the produce section. Yeah. Well, I'm going to do a last call right now, even though we're getting into Wahlburgers and Bill's here. Electro, your car, man, I feel so bad. You've been going through a nightmare with that thing. Best of luck, Nikki. I hope it returns from the car hospital. Is that how I pronounce that correctly? Hope that comes back in good shape. You deserve it. I mean, Bill, I'm telling you right now. I mean, I assume you're talking about Juwan Taylor and not Taylor Swift. But Juwan's not getting shipped out. I mean, that cash has shipped. His money's guaranteed for this year. He's playing it out. No, I mean, he's got one more year in his contract, but I think it's obviously been established at this point through just cryptic messages and hints and math, that if you look at the numbers, that Juwan Taylor's not going to be back next year, at least not at the cap number that he's hit. I imagine the Chiefs will move on, and Juwan will probably be looking for a new home next year, but he's not going anywhere this year. I mean, there's just, the Chiefs save nothing by walking away right now. The money for this year has been spent. It is guaranteed. No one is taking it off your hands. I don't think that that would be legitimately the only way that you would get any money from Juwan Taylor off the books, is if someone else wants to trade for him and is willing to take that money off your hands. That's where I get a little perplexed sometimes, because, and no offense to anybody, because this is not just Chiefs fans. It is every team in the world. And I guess I got too close to my camera, so I messed up the autofocus. Every team in the world at one point or another has the player that the fan base does not want around anymore, wants to boot out the back door, and thinks that someone else will take them off their hands and give them value for them, when they perceive no value in that player at all. I mean, I've had the suggestion a lot of times that, hey, maybe a team will take, Juwan off your hands for, a 7th round draft pick. I mean, Chiefs fans are wanting to get rid of Juwan Taylor because they think that he has no value. Why do you think another team, how desperate would they have to be at tackle for them to say, hey, the Chiefs, you guys have a tackle that you perceive has no value. will you let us have him and we'll pay the rest of his contract too? They're not going to do that. So yeah, I cannot see a scenario in the world where Jawan Taylor moves. And, part of that's just because, no team's going to take him off your hands. If team, there's just not, I think that I can't even imagine the scenario where a team would be willing to take the contract off your hands. That's just the reality. There's just too much money on that contract for this year, even on a prorated basis. Because I'm trying to remember, I think it's 17 million. I think was his base salary this year. So basically $1 million a game. Or at this point, if you want to try and make the trade, you're talking about team taking on $14 million. And I could have the numbers wrong. It could be a little bit less than that, but team would have to be in really dire straits to take that contract off. So no, Brian, you are not going to be able to trade Pacheco and Clyde for A-Chain. Again, you can't take the two guys that you don't like and say, hey, here's two guys that we don't like. Will you give us a player that we do like for these two guys that we don't? I love you, Brian. And I'm pretty sure that you're 60% being sarcastic. And I'll be honest, Bill, I don't think the Chiefs want. I think the Chiefs would rather have Jawan Taylor than Tyreek Hill. Not saying that Tyreek might not be able to come in here and do some things, but I think that by and large, the Chiefs feel like that they made the right decision at the right time and dodged the bullet on the Tyreek train. I'm not saying he wouldn't be better in Kansas City simply because he's a good fit for the offense. He probably still knows a good chunk of the offense, knows the terminology and everything. But Tyreek's a distraction. I don't think that he's as good as he was a couple of years ago. Just at this point in his age, he was at a point where as a player of his caliber, his stature, and just, position more than I really want to try to say more than anything. He's at a point where he's not getting faster or stronger. I know he was out there trying to challenge Noah Lyles in the offseason, but that's even probably more evidence about why the Chiefs would not want to bring Tyreek back, because I don't know that football was 100% his focus in the offseason, and things are not going well in Miami. So, Luttrell, how do playoff salaries work? Paid same per game as regular season? No, Luttrell, for postseason, players are paid for how far they advance. And I don't remember the exact number, but it's like, and every player gets paid the same amount. So it's not even, like if you're Patrick Mahomes, you're getting paid more money than somebody else. At least I don't even think it's based on experience. I think it's literally just, hey, if you make the wild card and you lose in the wild card round, here's how much you make. If you win your wild card but lose in the divisional round, here's how much you make, and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's basically bonus money, if you will, for winning games. Playoffs are just a bonus, but yeah, they're not like prorated or related to your salary during the season whatsoever. Alicia, does Xavier Worthy have a dislocated shoulder or torn labrum? Torn labrum sounds a lot more scary. Is this something that he is going to re-injure easily? This is a tricky question, Alicia, because the Chiefs have never flat out acknowledged directly what he has. We do have we had a report that he had a dislocated shoulder, and it did appear that the doctors reduced that shoulder on the sideline and popped it back into place after the injury down in Brazil. Then the report, I think it was, I want to say it was from NFL Network, but I could be wrong, that originally reported the partially torn labrum. Andy was asked about, the torn labrum last week, and he kind of he didn't, let's put it this way, in journalistic PR speak, he didn't refute the nature of the question. So the topic of the question was essentially, hey, about other players with torn labrums and their recoveries, and how does that relate to Xavier Worthy? And Andy just kind of said everyone is different. So he didn't dispute the premise of the question. So that would certainly be the closest that we've gotten from the Chiefs acknowledging that he does have a partially torn labrum. Yes, torn labrums are scary because they can be re-injured, they can be further injured, and if you completely tear your labrum, it's going to be surgical. And even with a torn labrum, he will likely have surgery in the off season. If he plays and makes it worse, he will probably have surgery that would end his season. So, yeah, it's and now my understanding from talking to a few people about torn labrums and everything is that usually if you allow a player to rest for a little bit and let that injury heal for a few weeks, it significantly improves your odds of being able to play without further injuring it, reduces the likelihood. But like you mentioned, yeah, we did not know about Pacheco playing through his torn labrum until after the season was over when he had surgery. So yeah, guys do it. I mean, they do play through them periodically, and there are guys that play with a partially torn labrum that do go ahead and end up re-injuring it and then having the surgery. So there's no guarantee that and now let's put it another way. I mean, Xavier Worthy's been examined probably 2 or 3 times. If the final determination was made that he needed to have the surgery now, he'd be having the surgery now. But if it's torn salary, torn labrum, right, partially torn labrum, and he's able to at least get that a little bit healed to the point where they feel like that the risk of re-injury is lessened. I mean, negligible is probably a good thing to hope for, but there's always a possibility. I mean, now they're going to probably put him in a brace, harness, whatever you want to call it. They will put him into some type of a device to try and protect it, to just make sure that he can't move it too much. That would cause a more of a tear, but at least would give him some lateral movement, just not too much movement. They'll do that. So he can play through it. I mean, obviously pain management is a part of that too. But yeah, Alicia, the kind of long-winded roundabout question answer, because like I said, Andy Reid, none of the Chiefs have come out and just flat out said, oh yeah, he dislocated his shoulder and he has a partially torn labrum. They've kind of acknowledged, at least tacitly, that yes, that is the case. That is, he has a dislocated shoulder and partially torn. They just haven't come out and flat out said that, and then don't know why. Jesus, did you and Nick already visit Mahomes and Travis's restaurant? I don't know about Nick. I don't think he has been there. I don't think it's in my budget, Jesus. I talked to someone who went there, and I think they paid $150 for a steak, and like not even with sides and a drink and wine or salad or anything like that. So I might have to work my way up, see if I can get a private invite or a gift card, which I don't think either one are coming. So. Let's see what else we got here. Final question wise, Bill, is Worthy playing this week? It's your guess is as good as mine. Last week, like I mentioned earlier, he popped up on Saturday with a soreness in that shoulder, and that's why they shut him down. So if he's able to play through a practice this week without any soreness, without any more inflammation, anything popping up in that shoulder before game time next week, I think he'll play. But what are the odds of that? Can't tell you for sure. Luttrell, if someone else were paying my per diem, I would be going. I'd be going to 1587 prime. So everybody, thank you very much. Appreciate y'all sticking around here and joining us till the bitter end. Hope you all had a good time tonight or later on this week if you're listening to it on the recording. Thursday night, we'll do round 2 and hopefully have some new information, new things we can talk about. Onward and upward for the Chiefs as they try to even out the record at 2-2 this week against the Ravens. So we'll be here on Thursday. Like I said, I'll be trying to get a guest in here, so you won't have to just listen to me the entire time ramble on in lightning round or possibly not in lightning round. And then Sunday 41 is the mic. Nick and I will be getting together recording that. Most likely, my guess is we'll be recording that around 11 or 11:30. So hopefully it will be out shortly after midnight, maybe 2 a.m. Nick always grinds it out somehow. I don't know how, but If you're like really, really late Sunday or early Monday morning, you'll probably get 41 is the mic. Otherwise, first thing Monday morning, it will be in your feed on YouTube and, of course, wherever you find your podcast. As always, hey, like us here, hit the bell so you get the subscriptions. You get notified whenever we got new videos or live streams coming up and coming out. Over where if you listen to the show on Spotify, or even if you don't listen on Spotify, but you want to go over and subscribe to it, and hey, give us a 5-star review there. We would appreciate it because then it helps other people find the show. All those things I should be, begging you all to do every week anyway, but I'm too insecure and too immodest. So, everybody have a great week. We will see you Thursday for Chiefs Digest live Q&A part 2, and then on Sunday for 41 is the